University of Missouri Tigers are with us. They are the 6th seed in the West region. They represent the Southeastern Conference. They'll play 11-seeded Drake University tomorrow night at 6:35. The head coach is Dennis Gates, and the men's basketball contact is Jason Vaninsky. We have on the dais Tamar Bates, Mark Mitchell, Caleb Grill, and we'll go right to questions for the three gentlemen here. Start right here on the second row.
Yeah, Gabe DeArmond with Power Mizzou. Mark, two questions. Number one, are you 100%? Number two, what's the difference in playing a team that, you know, their biggest guy is 6'8" versus playing some of the bigger front courts you've seen this year?
Yeah, I'll be ready to go tomorrow, yeah, it'll definitely be a little different. Obviously, just playing in the SEC, you know, probably the most athletic league in the country for the last few months. But, you know, it's probably going to be a little different. Probably going to see a little bit of different types of defenses and things like that. We know they're a really good team, really good defensive team. So we're just ready for the different schemes, the different defenses that they might throw at us, even though they might be a little smaller in stature.
For all three of you, we've kind of talked about playing close to home, but now that you're here, what's it like to play closer to home? And obviously for you, Caleb, playing in your hometown.
We'll start with Caleb on this and come this way.
It's a true blessing to be able to come back home. It's something I have not been able to do is come back here in my college career. So for all the miles that my family's traveled going to games, I'm just happy that, you know, it's real close to them and right in their backyard.
Yeah, I think it's just it's kind of a crazy moment. All three of us been talking about how much like AAU basketball we play in Wichita growing up, so it's kind of crazy that we're back in Wichita. So it's a full circle moment, 3 Kansas kids playing in Kansas, so I think it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, and then for me, I'm just grateful for the opportunity, obviously, to be part of the tournament, but it's a whole nother thing just to be closer to home. And all I've ever done my whole life in Wichita is play basketball, so it's just great to be, you know, in college and still doing the same thing in Wichita at the highest level and on the biggest stage. So it's definitely a great opportunity for ourselves and our families to be able to come and watch us play.
Back here, thank you.
For Caleb and Tamar, everybody knows the difference in pace of these teams, and you know, Drake's guys were saying they can't get sped up. What goes into attempting to speed a team up? How do you kind of force the tempo in your favor?
Tamar, first, please.
Well, I mean, for us, we're more so just going to be more so focused on just being solid on the defensive end. I mean, obviously there will be points in the game and opportunities for us to speed them up and to disrupt the pace that they try to play with, and obviously dragging their offense out and to shooting at the end of the shot clock. But I mean, we're not going to try to do anything outside of what we've done all year to speed teams up. I mean, we'll be solid defensively and take away what we can. And obviously they have some things that they're really good at on the offensive end that they've stuck to. So, I mean, for us, it's just about doing what we do.
Yeah, we just, like he said right there, do what we do. That's what we're going to do. We've been playing fast all year. We turn people over. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. And we have to be able to stay solid on the defensive end throughout deep shot clock situations and then finish them up with rebounding.
For all three of you, again, Coach McCollum, Drake's coach, talked about kind of their lack of depth. They only play 8, 9 players where you guys can go 18 strong, like you say. How much does that depth kind of give you an advantage in a game like this and a tournament like this?
Tamar, start us, and we'll go to the right.
I mean, like you said, we've talked about being 18 strong, and I mean, we just see our depth as something that, like, equips us for tournament play. Like, we're a team that's built for, like, any kind of tournament, and obviously March Madness, and it's an advantage and something that we are grateful to have, and obviously have everybody be healthy and available to play. But, I mean, we just try to use our depth to, you know, and obviously just wear them down and do what we can to just, you know, just keep the pace of the game and, you know, do what we do on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side, just having fresh bodies in the game at all times.
Yeah, I think our depth's always something we use to our advantage, and obviously with the contrast and playing styles of the two teams, obviously at times we're going to try to probably speed the game up, and they're going to try to slow it down. So I think just having fresh bodies in there, like Tamar said, is going to be something that we can use to our advantage.
I think that's what makes it a difficult matchup for us, is because we can play so many guys, and I think it's helped us throughout the year. You see games where guys may not play as much, and then they come in, they have a really big impact. I think Marquez Warwick and Jacob Cruz really can come in and spark energy for us, and then we have other guys like Marcus Allen, T.O. Barrett, who's coming in key situations throughout the season, and we have just multiple guys that we can rely on the bench, and I think that's just one of our strengths, and that's what makes us who we are.
Hey, yep, got one right here.
Tamar, was there any different mindset for you going into the SEC tournament? Do you feel like you played any more aggressively or any differently than you have all season long?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a different mindset. I was able to be a lot more aggressive, just from listening to what the coaches and the team need me to do, just as a leader and just as somebody that plays a good amount of minutes in the game. But I mean, going into it, I just wanted to, get some good momentum for myself and for the team going into this tournament, and some shots were able to fall, but I definitely was a little bit more aggressive. But in terms of my specific mentality, nothing really changed. It was just about trying to win the basketball game.
Anything else for the Tigers of the University of Missouri? Yes, we do.
Tamar and Caleb, we kind of talked to Drake about their fairy tale a little bit, going from D2 guys to D1. You guys obviously were on that 0-18 SEC team last year. What's this year been like, kind of getting Missouri back to the place that you guys have talked it belongs and being in the NCAA tournament?
Caleb, first, please.
I think when you look at last year, if we really paid attention to our team last year, you saw all the injuries, starting with John Tanjay, who just got released the other day, was a second-team All-American. Unfortunately, I got hurt with my wrist injury, and we had multiple other injuries that happened throughout the course of the season. So last year, it didn't really define who we were as a team. And last year, this is kind of how I expected our last year team to be this year. We're healthy this year, and it's shown that Mizzou has always been in a good place. And I think with Coach Gates, no matter the circumstances, he's the leader for the university, he's the leader for the state, and we're grateful to be a part of a coach like that. And we're just glad that we're able to have a piece of history in Mizzou basketball, and we're glad that we could do that and create excitement for the fans again.
Yeah, I mean, whenever a question like this is asked, I speak to the poise and the mentality that Coach Gates was able to have throughout a time like that last year, because myself, my teammates, the entire coaching staff, nobody had ever really been through something remotely close to that. So just the poise and just how he handled that entire situation and carried that kind of just mentality of what we wanted to do coming into this year, into the summer, and obviously into the fall and into the entire regular season and now postseason, is what kind of powered us to be able to respond from last year. And obviously we're healthy, and we have just a really good culture and an extremely good coaching staff, and obviously good players. But I mean, I give a lot of that credit to Coach Gates and just how he was able to just keep everybody's minds right, and just letting us know that the one season doesn't really define exactly who we are as a program and as players.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck tomorrow. You are dismissed. Head coach Dennis Gates will be back up here at 2:20 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow night, 6:35, Missouri and Drake. As advertised, the head coach of the Missouri Tigers is with us, Dennis Gates. We are going to ask Dennis to start off with a statement about his team, about being here in Wichita, Kansas, and then we'll go to questions. Dennis, please.
Well, we're definitely honored to represent our institution and obviously the SEC Conference during this historic year as a conference, bringing 14 out of 16 teams represented. But collectively as a unit, it's something we've built upon at the very beginning of the summer with our sports psychologist, Dr. Joe Carr, who has done a great job throughout my life, but also with our team, getting us all on the same pages as we pursue excellence in the classroom, court, and in our community. So we're thankful to represent our institution.
Thank you. Questions? Start right here in the second row.
Dennis, there's so much talk about the contrast in the way these two teams play. And Drake's guys said we can't get sped up. When you're the team that plays faster, what goes into trying to speed a team up?
Trying to speed a team up, what goes into it? I don't think anything primarily goes into it. I think both teams and both programs will continue to do what they've done throughout the course of a season, and we'll continue to do that as well. I think at the end of the day, if their ball isn't going in and ours is going in, it can feel like things are being sped up a little bit, and that's kind of what we want to continue to do, defend and do the things necessary to allow us to sort of look at our 30 games or our 20 games in conference or 18 games in conference and make sure we're being consistent in what we've done. There's a body of work that both programs have come from, and they'll do their job, we'll do our job, and we both have to adjust to in games, and the whistle is going to be important as well. So I think those things line up, but making sure our players consistently do the things we've been doing.
Coach McCollum talked earlier about how they have 9 players in their rotation. They don't have the wealth of depth that a team like yours would have. How much of an asset is it to have not only different defensive looks, but different lineups and sets that you can throw out at Drake, especially with them utilizing the shot clock as much as they do?
Well, we're going to make sure we're consistent. I think is documented how deep our team is, but still there's only 200 minutes in a game. And that's consistent across the board, whether it's 5 players that play the number of 200 or if it's 10 players that plays that. I think ultimately those that are in game have to be engaged a certain way, and I got to make sure that our team, our program is engaged, especially when it comes down to playing an opponent out of conference that have won 30 games and to the level of respect that we respect Missouri Valley and obviously Drake and Coach McCollum. They've done a great job throughout his time, and I'm thankful again to represent who we are. And now you can see the clash of two programs who rightfully put themselves in this tournament, but contradicting styles that can, both play well, but one has to win and one team has to lose.
Coach, when talking about a player like Bennett Sturtz, what makes him so hard to prep for, and what does he do so well on the court?
He's a pro, man. He's a good player. I enjoy watching him play, and I respect it. And not just him. This team isn't just about Bennett, right? Bennett does a great job. But collectively, although it's their first year at Drake, it's not their first year together. And the rest of the team collectively does a great job being stars in their roles. And some, if you look at their 30 wins, there's been different guys step up. It's not just been an All-American step up. It's just not been their best player. It's been other guys playing their role, but when it's their turn, they're prepared to produce. And that's what you see. You're a team, and they play as a team. They play as one. And I've enjoyed watching them play, studying them, and obviously building a scouting report.
Hey, Coach, for some of the fans of the other teams in this pod, can you explain how the shush or hush, whatever your guys' thing came about?
Well, I'll say this. It's organic. When you put players in one room together at the very beginning, you want to make sure they're on the same page. Each team has to be built upon enduring hardship, enduring pain, but also trying to execute the plan which leads to wins. Those opportunities that they show the public are a consistent build-up day in and day out of the time that they spend together, wanting to invade each other's interviews post-game, and B, allowing themselves to share the same platform. That's the unselfish spirit that they have. Now, add to that their reasoning. Our players have talked about doing things, not broadcasting it verbally or on Twitter. It's just more so action. And again, it's players having fun. It's a true brotherhood, and it's just deep relationships that you see in that moment. And that's just the act that shows how close our guys are.
When Coach McCollum was in here, he said the first thing he wanted to do was build his culture with some players he knew and tough players. Do you see some similarities in how he's approached that in his first year to what you did in your first year, bringing guys like Trey and Demoy in?
I know exactly what he means by that, because there's certain things you cannot teach. It's not enough time in a day to add up the sum of experiences that those guys have shared together that has sort of, I would say, galvanized their belief in one another. Trust is built over time and experiences. And what you see is trust. You see guys that have cut nets down before together, guys that have gone through the recruiting process with them. I've had that same relationship with Demoy Hodge, Trey Goldmillion, Ben Sternberg, and obviously Mabor Majak. And you add to that equation now is one of the main reasons why Jeremy Sanchez on our team can come in and be a captain for us, because he was a part of my first ever team that I've ever had as a head coach. And you can see his seamless transition and what he adds to our locker room, but also the guidance and the direction he adds to our new players. And that's what you see. So I agree with that culture piece. Is sometimes things coaches can't do. It has to be from player to player.
So just rolling off Ben McCollum, jumping from the D2 to the D1 level and finding the success that he has, just kind of how impressive is that for you as a coach?
It's impressive because I've applied for D2 jobs and they turned me down before. So it's very impressive that you can have success at that level, whether it's high school, Division II, Division III. But you have to understand, my view is a worldly view. I'm cut from a cloth of mentors. I was given opportunity, and I'm thankful for it. But you look at JUCO coaches, you look at Division III, Division II, you look at Buzz Williams, right? Buzz is a JUCO guy through and through. You look at even Nate Oates. I was recruiting at Nate Oates High School when I was a young assistant. So there's a level of respect that I have inherently because I have relationships, not only with Ben, but with other guys who have taken roads less traveled or roads less popular. And I still consider my road less popular, right? Because I had to really knock on doors, and I really say that in jest, but also seriousness. I sent my resume to high schools and to Division IIs and IIIs, and it got turned away, really. So I respect everything about the game of basketball and the coaches. I'm sort of a historian, and I love to see where people have come from and how they've risen to where they are now. And Ben's definitely a person that will inspire a lot of coaches who come after him from different levels.
All right, we have 5 minutes to go. We have 4 questions up. Right here, start.
Hey, Coach, this is your third NCAA tournament appearance. I'm just kind of curious, what have you kind of learned about yourself as a coach, coaching this tournament from your first one at Cleveland State, the 2 games 2 years ago, and now here this year?
They're all different, and you have to be able to neutralize the expectations of players, staff, and make sure as a head coach you try to stay in the moment and make sure you don't try to change as much as you need to, but work on it throughout the year and throughout the summer. So what I've done is kept notes on those things that I wish I would have done after my first experience, and I've implemented them in whether it's the situations, whether it's end of game. You guys saw a great Alabama State game last night. We played Alabama State, and we're sitting there watching the TV cheering for them as well because we knew they were a good team, and those situations are situations that can, in insert themselves into your game, and you have to be prepared. So from a situational standpoint in March, and obviously with your team, those are things that we kind of do a little bit different. And I make sure our players are shown different situations throughout the year that happens nationally, happens in the NBA or college, no matter the level. It can be Division III, Division II, or Division I.
Lower right-hand side here, Coach.
Hi, Coach. Callum McAndrew, Columbia Daily Tribune. You've mentioned your players studying the game of basketball and growing up watching this tournament. I was curious, what is your first memory of this event, this tournament?
My first memory is the best national anthem of college sports. That's One Shiny Moment. I mean, if you don't know One Shiny Moment, or at least watch the last part of the season, that is like no different than Midnight Madness. That is the closing part of the season. It's not the trophy presentation. It's not the team who wins. It's one shiny moment. So at a young age, that's what I would be tuned into. There's a, voice that's missing. Recent death of Gumbel and obviously not being a part of Selection Sunday. And we all felt that watching the TV, and we were like, man, it is different. So these things that we see take place consistently are things that adds to the memory. So for me, just talking to my friends throughout the years as an assistant, one day becoming head coaches, no different than childhood. These are moments we all share, moments that we're grateful for. You can't take it for granted because there's a lot of people, a lot of institutions, a lot of coaches who would want to be in our position right now.
Two more questions, Dennis. One's right here.
Dean Rao, Rock'em Nation. So, Coach, one thing that Drake does so well is getting shots up and getting them down with 5 seconds or lower in the shot clock. How important is it for you going to be handling your team's mental state in situations like that, because they will happen? And also, from a strategic point, how important will ball screen defense be in those situations?
Well, for me, when you build a schedule out against whether it's a closed scrimmage or even non-conference schedule to try to touch every single style of play out there. And that's what we've done. Your conference schedule adds to that. There are situations that add to that, but also there's practices that add to that. That's no different than our preseason endurance training drills of our system and trying to put our players in those situations. We don't start with a 30-second shot clock. Sometimes we've defended with 45 or 50 to see where our team is. Those are things where you add the very basics of your defensive philosophies because as a head coach you could face teams like that. Now, in the SEC, that may not be the case, but internally that has been the case as it relates to our scouting report and preps.
Final question. Thank you.
I think it's been a little over a year since Coach Nutt's diagnosis. I wonder if you could take us into how, being able to bring him back and have him involved with the team all season, and what that's meant both to you and to him.
Well, for me, Coach Nutt, when I first became a head coach, right, it was important. His office was across the hall from my office while we were both working for Leonard Hamilton. And I asked him, and I told him I needed him. I would love for him to join me because of his experience as a head coach, but also where he was in his career. I thought I could learn a lot, and I was right. I've learned a lot from Coach, and that's why when I went to Cleveland State, it was important for him to be there with me, but also when I came to Missouri, it was important for him to be there with me and be here with me as well. And that's why when you probably have read some of the articles that Coach has talked vividly about his battle with cancer, that sometimes after games I would be at the foot of his bed in the hospital, right, as he was going through chemo. Well, it's just because the support and love that he's had for me is pouring back into him. And there's no better person out there who I would rather do it with than a Coach Nutt. He comes from a sports family. We know who his brothers are. but we know who he is as a person, as a man, as a mentor, as a coach, as a father, as a son. He's the same person that can't wait to see his mom. He'll drive up to Little Rock to see his mom on his day off. Coach, I'm going to drive up to see my mom. Great. Go ahead, Coach. But also he's the same person that would invite his brothers to our practices or to our games, or even his children to our games or even to our tournaments. So for me, from my perspective, he's taught me how to be a father, how to be a husband, how to be a son, how to be that while juggling the rigors of head coach, while also balancing mentorship, while balancing discipline, while balancing different things that I have to balance. And he's just been a calming voice for me. So having him here through his battle, on the other side of his battle, is rewarding. It's a great experience, but I just wanted to be there for him, just like he's been there for me. And that's very important as I continue into coaching. That's a great question.
Dennis, thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
We have Bulldogs and Tigers at 6:35 p.m. tomorrow night. And Wilmington is next up on the dais at 2:50. Thank you.